Welcome to Nintendo Voice, your voice for everything Nintendo. This is episode 99, recorded on the 12th of July 2017. My name's Lewis Pugh, and joining me to talk Nintendo, we have Harrison Milfeld.
We're going to podcast like it's 1999.
And Con Crompton.
I was 9 years old in 1999, so that'd be interesting. Hello!
With a 56K connection.
And soft beverages for most of us.
Yes.
Today we've got what we've been playing. We've got Nintendo news. We've got a Nintendo Direct to discuss, and we even got a feature for this evening, which I've done a preparation for. Do we have a feature still?
We do.
We still have features. We do. Even after a short break, we do.
Alright, we got a feature all around third-party support for Nintendo consoles. And we have the bonus round. This is a fully packed episode. And let's jump straight into some what we've been playing. And who would like to start? Who's going to jump in?
Silence.
This is not how we do podcasts. Colin.
Yes.
What have you been playing recently?
Honestly, not too much, but I did tackle the Zelda DLC that came out.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so I forgot what the DLC is called already.
It's not the second one's Champions, the Ballad of the Champions.
Ballad of Champions, yeah.
But it's the
which they actually show some more details about that, which is quite interesting. But the first one, I forget what it's called, but I've not been to Trial of the Sword. That's what it was. Yeah, I've not been too hot on the new Zelda DLC. I understand it's not meant to be terribly exciting. It's more of a thing to keep you busy while they're preparing the real DLC.
The appetizer before the main meal comes out.
Very much so, and this is a very sparse appetizer. Okay, so with the DLC, you get a bunch of new equipment, outfits you can just find. They all become like part of side quests as soon as you load into the game. You get a bunch of side quests for you to find stuff, and they're all pretty easy to find. I don't really have any issues. Now, this is where a minor niggle point comes straight away. You can find these like bonus sets of armor or costumes that Link can equip. They have special properties, but they all have very low defense, and you can't upgrade them. So, at least to me, they're effectively pointless because you'll look cool, but you'll die while wearing them. And it's kind of bizarre that's a weird design choice. It's like, why can't you just let me upgrade them? But yeah, that's one part of the DLC. I was like, okay, well, it's cool, but effectively useless. The only real advantage I found with the DLC is the mask that lets you find the Korok seeds.
That is, I've heard, is pretty helpful.
That is super helpful. It has like quite
one has like a real unique ability to it, unless I'm mistaken. The others kind of seem to be reused.
Pretty much, yeah. But the Korok mask is like just a selling point, really, for me. It's because it's just there's 900 seeds you have to find in a world that's huge. It's like I'm not going to be able to find these on my own. And the Korok mask is super effective at just like pinpointing the exact location of these seeds. It triggers quite early on. Like it's got quite a wide radius, so it triggers. So like, okay, cool. But everything else is pretty lame.
Really? I know it does sound like an appetizer for everything like that. Again, I've been late to the whole party of getting this whole. I need to get on this. I guess it's like knowing that the second portion of this DLC is the one that interests me the most. So,
So what do you think about the actual trials, Colin?
Yeah, I was going to dive into the trials. I don't like the trials.
Ooh, dear.
I think they highlight an element of the game that's not its strong point, and that's the combat. Zelda Breath of the Wild combat is fine. It's good. but it's not great. It's very simple, and they put the focus on the combat, and it's just, and of course, it highlights that there are so few enemy designs in the game because you fight a lot of the same enemies over and over, and it's like
that. Yeah, that's one criticism I think I had. It's like few criticisms I had of Breath of the Wild was because of it. I like the initial enemy designs, but one thing that kind of gets through it is like there's maybe about 5 types. I'm not counting like things that fight you, but whether it's like feral creatures, but as far as like Lizalfos or Bokoblins or any of these other creatures, it's like I just wish there was a little more variety to it. But go on. I was like,
Yeah, no, when you start going through the color variations, it's like you guys ran out of ideas at some point. Yeah, it just, I mean, okay, so when you start the trials, so even though you're the one that the Master Sword chose, the Master Sword doesn't think you're worthy of its full power, essentially. So you have to put the Master Sword back into the pedestal. Yeah, after putting the darn thing out.
Quite the tease there. It's like I about died pulling you out, so.
Exactly.
I did
exactly,
not.
Lewis just kept getting himself trying to get the sword.
I had so art to that point in the game. Like 8.
Why did you keep trying? But yeah,
because I didn't look it up. It didn't tell you how many you need.
No, it's true. No, it's technically true.
I got a new highlight and ran back. Can I do it now?
No. I love that he didn't stop himself. It's like I will keep doing it. But so yeah, you put the sword in and you get warped to this basically a new area. Link is stripped of everything. Everything you own is taken away from you.
Apart from his boxes.
You get to keep those, but you lose your health, your armor, your weapons. Everything's gone. Even your special abilities you get from the dungeons, they're all gone. They're stripped. You can't do the thunder area attack or anything like that.
Your glider.
You do keep the glider.
Special
even
glider,
though
you keep it.
It's effectively useless because everything's pretty much ground based anyway.
There's a few areas you can get updraft. Fine.
There is, but it's not. I didn't find myself doing that very often.
Nah.
So yeah, the first floor of the trial, you got nothing. You got to find weapons, and it's pretty much like the Eventide Island section of the game, but worse, way worse.
Because that just it's not puzzle focused.
Well, exactly. That was more puzzly. It's more find these 3 orbs and bring them back to the areas you need to. Whereas this is kill all the enemies to proceed, and it's more frustrating than it is satisfying.
So is it more so that it kind of outstayed its welcome? Because I mean, there's obviously combat throughout, obviously Zelda, and is it just that there was like so much in a short period of time?
It's very condensed. I think the issue is because there's several stages to the trials. So the first trial is like 12 floors, I believe. And then the game, once you clear all those 12 floors, the game kicks you back to the Lost Woods. And your Master Sword gets slightly more powerful. You can do another series of trials. And then another series. It keeps on going until it's fully upgraded. But, so say you're near the end of one of these, like say you're on like floor 11 out of 12. If you die, the game kicks you back to the first floor.
I think I did on 11.
And that to me is just unnecessarily harsh. It's like because floor 7 of the first set of trials is a rest stop. It's just a place that has ingredients and a little place where you can cook, so you can prep yourself for the final set of floors. But even then, it's like, why not take me back there? It's a safe zone. It's like the halfway point. Take me back to the halfway point.
I guess the one thing I could probably get the sense of this, Trials of the Sword portion of this DLC is the best comparison I saw to it is like it's almost a bit of a Naked and Afraid kind of portion for Link, where you're with nothing to whatever, and it gets to the point where it's like, is this worth it for the ability of upgrading the Master Sword? So, but but did you ever try out the hard mode though yet?
No, that's the master mode is something I've yet to dive into. Mainly on the precept that you have to basically start a new game.
Well,
you can't carry over your.
Wait! I thought it was. No, I could have swore you can have a separate file for it.
Can you? Because I heard that if you click on it, it starts a new game, and I was like, I don't want to have to go through it again.
I might have to test this out on a secondary profile.
Yeah, well, I don't have the luxury of the Wii U.
Just to confirm. True.
But yeah, so as a first set of DLC for a Zelda game, it's not terribly impressive. It is something.
I just found an article. Yes, it will not override the existing saves. So.
Ooh.
Okay, cool.
Good.
That's awesome. I might have to give that a go at some point then.
Although a friend of mine who has been playing it, whatever, he said like, "Wow, this hard mode's pretty well," and then it's like, there's a line on at the plateau.
Oh, really?
And it's bad. It's
a Guardian, to be fair. So.
That's tough.
Another thing to run away from at the beginning.
Yep. Oh yeah, because at the beginning of the game you're so underpowered, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everything just kills you in one hit. So yeah, overall, I give the DLC like a 4 out of 10, maybe. But it's
the first part. Maybe
the first part. Yeah, the first part. The second part, I'm really excited for.
Well, I need to know, Colin, how do you rate the Switch shirt?
I've had the Switch shirt for a while.
No, the Switch shirt you got initially when you downloaded.
It's all part of the same thing.
I know.
Now, this is what I find a bit odd. I think in the Wii U version, you should get a Wii U shirt.
No, you should.
I was like, why am I advertising the Switch when I'm playing on a Wii U? That makes no sense.
Because it's telling you to buy a Switch finally. That's why.
I know it's very subtle marketing.
It's trying to make you feel bad about your purchase. Can't you understand?
You can play the wrong version. Yeah.
No, that reminds
me. It's very bizarre.
That reminds me, though. I'm assuming probably you're still going. Well, you bought the summer pack, whatever. So you are going to go full out with until the Wii U is dead and buried, until you move on to a Switch and move on to this last part of the DLC on Wii U, aren't you?
Yep. I'm riding this baby out.
It's committed.
Yep.
Cool. Well, quick question. How far did you get in the trials?
I cleared the first set. I attempted the second set of trials, and the difficulty does ramp up a bit. And I don't really have the patience for this.
But after you've done the first set, you can start on the second?
You can. You can. They give you. You can. The weird thing about trials is
that's something.
It would be nice if you could save it inside the trials. So like you get like floor 10 to save. Yeah, I can just reload the game. No, it doesn't let you. It's like, really. But I also think it's weird that so the whole thing is about Parrot and Master Sword. So why don't they just let you take the Master Sword into the trials and make that your only weapon?
Well, it'll be a different set of challenges, to be honest.
I mean,
it's not like the challenges would remain unchanged if you had a sword of them. They would just
that'd be easier.
You'd be like fighting waves of guardians in Lynels or something. So you have an appropriate level of challenge still. It's designed around your skill set.
I guess. But when you're fighting like Bokoblins with a stick, it's not that fun.
Yeah. So I guess, although I probably mentioned I've also been playing the DLC. I've not got any further in the trials than you have. But we obviously now that it's actually a thing, the DLC, we've got concrete evidence what the upgrade to the Master Sword is, because it was very nebulous before. And so we know now is it still can lose its charge and become unusable for a period of time.
Which is weird. I think it should be like unbreakable.
Fair enough. Yeah. And so the state it gets upgraded to is its glowing state when you're next to
glowing.
The bosses, as it were. And the power, as you said, increases per each of those 3 levels of the trials.
Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of people did assume it was gonna just just never run out of energy, but that's not the case.
Nope, it's just
Which I think that's a bizarre choice. Again, it's like you go for its trouble, just make it a bit more powerful. And that's not really worth the hassle, if you ask me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
The journey itself should be the reward.
No, the journey itself is pure frustration.
Okay. Cool. So, is that what you've been playing, Colin?
That's all I've been playing, Nintendo-wise, yeah.
Cool. How are you, Harrison?
Oh, for me. How am I right now? If you can, well, for those watching live right now, if you can notice the sun blaring into me at this moment, and it is 101-degree day here in Missouri. So
wonderful.
I'm not feeling. I know you guys had a bit of a heat wave in the UK for a little bit, didn't you?
We did, but this is purely a virtual sun here. It is 20 minutes past midnight my time. There is no natural lights currently.
No, I don't know. I mean,
it has been very hot.
I do want to say. I do want to say though, things I did uncover. I'll get after I talk about what I've been playing, but I do want to give a bit of a brief update of what I've been doing right now. And yes, I've been still playing a little bit more ARMS, and yes, thank you for that. Like showing your arms, your fist there for me, Lewis. So to signify that, but. It is.
In case you didn't know what they were.
You didn't know, like, these are arms? Wow, okay. But it's holding my attention now, but until Splatoon comes around, that's where it's just going to get pushed aside, whatever, unless I want to play a little bit more online. Still, I'm just still awaiting more features to come into this, because it's that Grand Prix to me, whatever. Even after I got beaten out of like what was it, like up to 4 and above, which you need to get to unlock ranked mode. Yes, and it's tough for newcomers. It is tough. It really is. And I had to choose a character that I really wasn't my main, as far as in practice modes and playing online with like not ranked, was Ninjara. So I mean, but again, that's the more OP person. And that I've learned that character, it's his jump and dash move. No, not his jump and dash move, but his grab move has been received a lot of complaints from a lot of competitive, like so far early competitive, like people who've been really into ARMS.
Is it like easy to exploit, or
he's easy? It's something where like if you're facing off with somebody who's Ninjara, the person will just spam like dash jump dash dump and just use the grab.
It's kind of like Captain Falcon in the original Smash Bros. Was just like so overpowered.
Yeah, it's no, that one I do remember so much. It's just this one. It's like they will just use that to evade, and they'll just use the grab ability. That's really all when it comes down to it. But no, I'm enjoying as much as I can to right now. But the game I've been playing on 3DS that I actually am reviewing, and it did finally get a 3DS port back in late May. But I finally got a review code for it, and I've just been messing around with other things I need to do it, and it's Elliot Quest. Obviously, this game released in the Wii U and other different formats back in 2015. It finally got a 3DS release. The best way I can describe it to is it's a 2D side scroller RPG / action like adventure RPG that's in the vein of Castlevania 2 and Zelda 2. So yes, you're essentially like when you're moving from area to area, you have a top like a overview world map that you move to wherever you want to go, and once you go to the areas, you're in the 2D side scroller portion of it. It is oozing with a lot of nods to it. Even parts of the music that I listen to are a lot of good nods to like previous Zelda games. Not complete ripoffs, but the first music that you listen to in this game, I swear that it is really a little bit of like the Lost Woods or the right before you reach the Master Sword in Link to the Past. Like that music is eerily familiar to it. But
so only slightly ripped off.
It's slightly, but still, it's a good game. It's just here's the thing. I'm near finishing it, but I can't finish it. You know why?
Oh, okay.
there's a glitch. Now, but I'll get to that right now. But as far as the game right there, you are essentially playing this titular character named Elliot and going against the force of evil. Does what we can. I'm messing up my plot synopsis here a little bit, whatever. But technically, you cannot die. I mean, you die,
Right.
but you go back to your save states that are these little tablets around the area. So the only thing that you lose in this game is XP. And at times, that gets a little bit frustrating for me because I'm trying to upgrade this character a little bit as far as like these different abilities. So once you upgrade one in typical fashion, you place your mark on like, hey, I want my arrows to shoot further, or I want to run faster, or I want to jump a little bit higher, or like run fast. These are things that are in there as far as XP, and of course, that there can become a portion, and I mentioned how this is akin to Zelda 2. Yes, it is tough, and it is cryptic, quite cryptic. So this is why a guide for me actually had to help me through this whole type of experience. So, but I tramped through. Loved different little abilities that you get from these like elemental abilities, whether it's like stuff about wind, ice, fire, and earth, and whatever. But as you traverse through whatever and just trying to figure out where to go, I did encourage see some bugs in this game. Now, the ones leading up to it that I assume, okay, this is just based on hardware, or I'm seeing a lot of enemies on screen, really bad slowdown. Like,
right.
really bad slowdown. Like, there would be portions of this where I see enemies on screen, and I'm jumping or falling, and I really can't do much to actually stop anything about it, because the slowdown just disrupts my flow. And at that point, whatever, it did bring down my experience a little bit, but obviously I traversed a little bit more, got through it. But once I get to the end of this game, and I'm hoping this is fixed, because there's a game-breaking glitch in this game. Or, not game-breaking that it basically ruins your save, but one that prevents you from attaining an item that is needed to get to the final boss. I'm in the final dungeon.
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds like the worst thing that could happen right into the game.
Yeah, and the thing is, I checked Miiverse about this, and I think the European release, they got this fixed, whereas US it isn't. But you're in the final dungeon, and then there's these large blocks with obvious cracks in them, but you need appropriate bombs to bomb those, to break them the walls. So I get to this NPC that is able to sell me the bombs. All right, I have money. I jump up to do it. I jump when you want to get items, whatever, they appear on screen, and then you just jump at them, whatever, like on screen, whatever, like, oh, they're yours. I jump at it, game freezes, and goes back to my home menu on my 3DS. Like that. I did it multiple times to do this. I looked online, and through a few Miiverse posts, yeah, I've encountered several, other people like me have encountered several experiences for that I've done right now. And to me, that put a sour end, because I just need to bomb the wall, and the final boss is there. That's it. The ending is there. And it's a game that I really like because of how much it just, again, Zelda 2 is the first Zelda game I ever beat. I know, it sounds very crazy to everybody. People are trying to beat that since then. And
that is crazy.
And to me, it's like, I love the homage to it, even though I feel like it can be a tad strenuous, and the crypticness and how vagueness of where to go can be wearing, because I feel like, yeah, you can make a game like this that's inspired by Zelda 2, but you can't really, go full out where it's like, hey, we're not telling you what to do in terms of I know some people call me a hypocrite about this, but well, with Breath of the Wild, where do you want to go? But the thing is, it's the world itself is laid out for you to actually explore whatever. It's to do what you want to do.
There's some clear set and stuff like that.
Yeah. Whereas with this, there's boundaries, yet with the cryptic.
Right.
So, my experience with this, I enjoyed it, but it just bogged down so much to me, whatever, by that bits of slowdown on this port and that glitch that I really hope to finish. It gets corrected. And I've had people who actually have played this, either whether it's on Steam on the Wii U, and they've enjoyed it. But I'm really wanting to get that past it. So, but
hopefully they're working on a fix right now.
Yeah, I hope so, because I really want to get to that point. But aside from what I've been playing, I did post on Twitter though that I was moving some things from my parents' house just recently.
This is awesome.
And I uncovered a good portion of my video game collection. So it's been in good storage. It's fine. A couple things are missing that I could probably find in my dad's office and such, whatever. But I found the first box I opened up was my entire GameCube collection. And I noticed, I posted that, and I just looked at like, good God, so many hours I've wasted. Not wasted, but taken away from me.
Time well spent. Invested
is probably, but yeah, like the operative word here. But it's, I don't know, I'm just going through, all the manuals are still there, all that, and I had Skies of Arcadia as well, which Colin pointed out, which that's a nice gem as a game in there. But
brilliant game.
Yeah, it's one that I really hope gets another re-release or something like that in terms of like.
It's the only game I would, if they said we're going to remaster this game into HD, day one purchase straight away. I'm not usually a fan of remasters and remakes and things like that, but that would be the one for me. That game is awesome. It needs to come back as a series. It has. It's so good.
Yeah. No, you're totally. I mean,
have we all played Skies of Arcadia then? I'm not sure we've ever discussed it.
What's your history of the game, Lewis?
I've played and beat it on the GameCube.
Nice.
And yes, it's definitely up there among my favorite RPGs.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was I'm trying to think. Yeah, that one got fairly ported early, I think, after the GameCube. I think it was like during its second year.
Yeah, I think because the Dreamcast kind of bombed and died. They're like, well, we've got this gem of a game on our hands. Yeah. Let's fix it. And because I played the Dreamcast version, and the encounter rate is stupid high. Every 3 steps, you're getting into a battle, right? And it's just like, okay. And then the GameCube version comes. They fixed it slightly. You're still pretty grind heavy, but it's not as bad. And they had a bunch of like extra side quests and stuff, and they did a real good job of it. I don't think it's sold enough for them to warrant.
Again, it's one of those cult hits. The same way you say for a game like Tales of Symphonia, which I regret never picking up or buying. I remember renting it and liking it, but I never went through and bought it.
I never liked Tales of Symphonia. I tried it, never got on with it.
I did. Although my cube though was not with me in the box. I know where it's at. It's just all my component cables and everything like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm just running out of shelf space. I need to find shelf space to put all this stuff up. So you're not staring at baseball hats and an EPL scarf and a curtain and a bearing sun right now, because I need to get that fixed at the moment. So,
mentioning the shelf word again. That's something which I need to get on as well. Have some things.
You gotta know, on your
I've got some things on the walls, but yeah, there's lots of things like on the desk and such, which would be nice to show, but it's all at the wrong level. You need to be higher up and further back. I need a shelf.
Something of course. I did actually find a lot of my Game Boy Advance cases for a lot of games, like the boxes. Like I have 6 of them right there. So that was.
It's awesome that you kept the boxes, because so many people was like, "Oh, cardboard box, throw it away. Put the game in a little plastic case, keep it safe."
Yeah, I kept that. I have Zero Missions box there. I have the Fire Emblem 2003, Advance Wars, and I think Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. I think those are the boxes that I found. And I also found Nintendo I actually found a lot of my Nintendo Powers. But also I found the last issue of Nintendo Power, 286 or something like that, the one when they ended about in 2012. So that I had, and I don't know, there was a lot of good stuff that I found in there, and
good nostalgia trip right there. Yeah,
and it's just sitting in the room next to me right now, and it's a matter of like, where do I put this now? So aside from the closet. So. But yeah, that's what I've been up to right now. Yeah. What about you, Lewis?
What was that? Well, we've kind of covered my stuff. I've been playing some of the New Zelda DLC. I've still been playing ARMS. I'm up to I'm on the last level in Grand Prix now, and I'm very grateful you can save because I am halfway still.
Very thankful that this does. So.
Returns that, and I'm still playing that with a friend as well. So obviously it's very handy then. Obviously, depending on how much time you have, we can just resume when you've got more time. Been playing a little bit more online as well. Playing some more ranked. Yeah, I really am liking ARMS, but as Harrison mentioned, it's going to be really interesting to see, once Splatoon 2 comes out, because ARMS is kind of scratching that same itch, but I think Splatoon does a better job. So it would be, will Nintendo be able to provide interesting content to ARMS to keep people playing, or will people just completely jump ship to Splatoon if they've not, already stopped playing ARMS?
Yeah, no, I think ARMS and Splatoon 2 are going to complement each other quite well.
Okay.
I don't know.
I imagine, obviously, the same, brains behind them ultimately. So I imagine, when they plan out the rollout plan for content going in the future, they won't be lumping it together. So you have so they can focus on a month of ARMS and then the next month of Splatoon and back and forth.
Absolutely, yeah.
And other games can join the wonderful mix, like a Poppin' Tournament, perhaps, and Smash in the future.
Definitely.
That kind of covers what I've been playing, really. So we've got lots to discuss. So let's jump straight into the news, and we've got a Splatoon 2 Direct to talk about.
We do.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
So I guess usual questions first is. Did we watch this one live?
Yeah.
Or do we have to catch it up?
I didn't see it live. I caught it afterwards.
Yeah, this is one I caught afterwards as well.
I caught it.
But it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought it was good. What did the rest of you think overall? Was it a good direct? Bad direct?
I mean,
it was
no,
more
go on, Harrison.
It was more of the same, but obviously a nice little good, and excuse the pun, refresher course on Splatoon. So,
yeah,
don't blame that.
No, I definitely agree with that. I'm not really a fan of these one game focused directs because I feel like they're just telling us stuff that we really already know. They do throw in a few surprises, which is nice, but it's mainly going over the same stuff again. It's like, we know this already. Can you show us something new? And there weren't really that many surprises as direct. At least I don't feel like there was.
No, there weren't too many surprises. There was a few things here and there, and just there was just more details as well. So things which you wouldn't necessarily count as a big surprise, but yes, they detailed some more weapons and such.
Yep.
So I'm not going to go through everything, which I've got detailed down here. But do we have any particular favorite things which came out of it?
Do we want to talk about the internet's favorite thing from it?
Sure, yeah.
I completely missed that.
Do we want to talk about the internet's favorite thing of this? The internet's favorite thing about this Splatoon Direct that came out of it?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, let's jump straight to that. So what, the new presenters?
New presenters, yes.
Yeah.
You sound very not interested in this, Colin.
I just felt like they were there to be made memes out of, basically. It was just this is going to be our new gateway for new people to be like, oh, I've seen those two people around. I didn't feel like they're entirely necessary.
Is that what you thought of Callie and Marie, though? Did you thought, oh, that's just Nintendo's
pretty much,
as it were?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the thing is, though, there was the new presenters that we have that are going to this are Pearl and Marina. And obviously one is an Octoling. That's a very interesting, and both great designs. One was praised for a great design and great characters, whatever, whereas one was it was not like with Callie and Marie where it's split down the middle, where you had basically everything like that. And whereas something like Marie, they liked based on the text that you would see during Splatfest and stuff like that, where that's where you saw the character from it, a bit of a sarcastic tone to it. That's the reason I kind of like that design and like that character. This one, though, as far as speaking strictly in design, it's overwhelming Marina. That's really what we get to it. I mean, as soon as those characters were announced, all I said to myself was how long until DeviantArt and Tumblr's servers start frying after all the fan art that comes in? And sure enough, 15 minutes later, I swear, 15 minutes after that, the first piece of fan art came in.
Oh, right, I bet. There. Yeah.
And and I like that design.
Yeah, it didn't take long, did it?
No, and I like the design. I really do, and I like them again. Once it comes into that introduction, it solidified the fact that I really, really like Splatoon's music. I really like what it does. And a good comparison I had from a friend of mine, well, a friend from Twitter, was that it almost feels like reminiscent. I would say not so much of Jet Grind or Jet Set Radio. Like it's basically tearing over to it, whatever. But the internet just scorched Pearl's design or something like that online, and to me, I was indifferent. I thought like there could be some corrections to it, but I got a feeling it could have that same Marie effect where it's like, okay, even though design-wise they were half and half, everybody liked it, whatever, universally, depending on what you thought about the last Splatfest, is maybe she could be the one that has all the cheeky dialogue and such. That's where it kind of gets into it, because the best way you can actually the best way somebody compared basically Pearl like, oh, Rose, Pearl Marina, where it's like about how why is the Pearl kind of reminds too much about like Iggy Azalea, and then Marina is, and the name's friggin' escaping me right now, because that's they're going from singers to basically DJ and a rapper. So that's what we have, and I'm bothersome, but it's like I like it. I do like the design to it. I mean, that's one thing that Splatoon has really given to me, and the internet has been strict and strong in their decision who they like the most.
Oh, definitely. But I think,
well, I don't like either of them, so
that's right.
I'm in the minority, I guess.
I guess you are. My initial reaction was basically the same as the internet's, but giving it some more thought.
Okay.
I think I can see what Nintendo's doing here, which is if they had gone with another set of two presenters who were very similar in design to each other, I feel it would have, one, kind of cheapened both of their designs, but also in a weird way, Calais Marie, because that's kind of their thing, in a sense. And so with Pearl Marina, I think the fact that they are quite opposing designs, and hopefully that reflects in their personalities, and they, kind of bounce off each other quite well. But I think like the silhouette of like Pearl and Marina will, in a weird way, be a better character for it. They are quite different, and that is oddly kind of what is drawing people towards, well, I think at least, to Marina, because how different they are, as it were.
Yeah.
In a way, bizarre way, but I'm hoping it's going to make for a more interesting set of characters, and I'm not sure it's going to come down to maybe it would be more interesting if like the final Splatfest is the ultimate pick a side, but by that time
it will be.
The players are genuinely divided compared to where they are now. It would be a landslide on obviously Marina. It was admittedly a bit of a shock to system, because it wasn't what I was expecting for, if there was going to be a replacement, which I wasn't expecting anyway. I like to see some new faces. So this is cool.
It is. And yeah, I think that was one thing, like when people were putting out predictions, like I think that was one thing that skipped my mind. It's like, oh wait, we don't have new presenters each for these Splatfests out. And again, did not cross my mind. So, but well, I'll say over under how long until the amiibos of these versions come out.
Probably the same amount of time it took for the Calais Marie amiibos to come out after. Because they're already launching with obviously a line of Splatoon 2 amiibos, but they're not there. So I'm sure it won't be too long. So in addition to new presenters, we do have extra information about the game coming out. We had, but the next biggest thing was probably the fact that the first Splatfest is coming up before the game even launches.
Which is, interesting choice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so this is going to kind of take a different form of the a playable demo to which we have had of the Splatoon 2 before. But it's, a Splatfest. It's the full thing, as it were. So, well, maybe not quite the full thing. It's going to be held on July 15th from 3 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. So it's still a decent window of playing time. Not quite the usual. Was it what's Splatfest usually? A whole weekend or?
Generally, aren't they? Yeah.
I want to say it was, or was it just a day?
Yeah, possibly. And I imagine they'll go back to that format. Once the game's actually released, they don't want to just give everyone access. 24 or 48 hours. Because some people probably get bored of the game in that time, just continuously playing it. So I've had my fill now. They need to get it. But the first Splatfest, of course, the ultimate question is going to be between cake and ice cream.
What side are you on?
Probably ice cream.
I am. I just Colin's look on his face is covering.
Colin's not got his heart in it anymore, is he?
These Splatfests, they're so depressing.
What?
I want them to have actually good, two opposing things. Cake
Transformers
and
and Decepticons, for example.
We did do that. I was in the Decepticons.
It wasn't a coincidence. We didn't get it, though, did we, Colin?
No, we didn't. We got the rubbish ones instead. I seem to remember. But I want them to have decent Splatfest. Cake and ice cream. Does it really matter who wins?
Are you suggesting?
Well, let's find out, Colin. Which would you choose? We could start a fight right here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well,
you're a cake man or an ice cream man?
I don't like cakes, so ergo I will go with ice cream, even though
cakes.
There is ice cream cake though. Ice cream cake though is that's the reason why ice cream is good, because ice cream complements the cake.
God.
They're not any cakes.
No, any like that. Ice cream cake is great. But that's the reason I'm ice cream.
Different types of cake.
No, and and the way Colin's suggesting, it's are you suggesting it's gonna, if you want to have better ones on there, oh dear God, if you want to release something like this in America, it's hey, what's your something political, for instance?
Oh,
yeah, that would get bad. It's
that's what Colin's all about.
If it was during the election time, that would have been a bad. I don't even think the Nintendo servers would be able to conquer that. So, God,
overload.
But I will not be able actually to attend this Splatfest though, because it's going to work and I'll be out of town. So, like I said, go Team Ice Cream.
Harrison's cheering from the sidelines.
Yeah. I guess the other thing, I'm not sure it was an official announcement, but because they didn't say otherwise, I assume this is going to be a worldwide Splatfest, unless that's a detail which has been confirmed before.
I think that is right. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So, yeah. Previously, they were all regionalised, weren't they?
They were.
As that's kind of we just mentioned, with some of the more I don't know, market themed Splatfests.
We got some terrible ones, I seem to remember, but I can't remember any specifics.
I just think of two random opposing things.
Yeah.
Probably what we had.
Do we have water slides and theme parks? Was that one? Yeah, something like that one.
Possibly. Yeah. Anyway, so other things we should probably mention. So there was new weapon types altogether, and some of them, come with the game, and some of them are coming out, a little bit in the future. One of the ones which caught my attention, and I can't remember its official name, but basically the umbrella gun.
That is the one that caught me as well, but that's going to be
I think that's
DLC.
I think that's a DLC one. The cool thing about that weapon is you can pop up the actual umbrella and use it as a shield as you're walking across.
That is cool. I'll give it that is cool. Yeah.
I think it would actually, change up the gameplay quite a lot. Like if you were fighting someone who has the shield, as it were, or you're the guy who can switch it on or not. So you have to consider, when's
Plus,
the best time to have the shield.
You get to pretend that you're the Penguin from Batman. How cool is that?
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Any other weapons catch our attention?
Well, what is the name of the dual pistols that you have in there? The dualies?
The dualies, I think.
Dualies, yes. I feel like I can have a lot of fun with those.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I mean, yeah, they've got the quick, dashing with them, which is pretty cool.
Get out. Yep.
Yeah, they showed off some new special weapons as well. They had, I'm using all the official, unofficial names here. There's the hamster ball you could roll around in.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And then it fills up with paint, and you can roll over an opponent's paint as well. And then when it fills up, it explodes.
Yeah, because why not?
Yeah, and they seem to be going full out with these special weapons as well. And there's crazy ones, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like they've lost the theming a little bit. It's like it was just going to throw out any random like hamster balls. It's like, yeah, okay, well, why not? They're not hamsters.
Hamster balls naturally fill up with water and
drown the hamster. Yeah. So.
Yeah, there was the thermal, I can't remember again. I don't know any of the names. But it's you'd shoot an enemy and then you'd be able to then see it behind walls.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was quite a cool one. Yeah, there's lots of interesting little tweaks and so on, and a load of new abilities for your gear. So matching up what's going to be best for what set of levels and so on is going to take some time.
I hope it doesn't tip the balance too much. Like there's some overpowered pieces of gear that just makes you unstoppable.
True, but I mean, Nintendo's kind of shown they're not shy of actually stepping in and playing around with balance if needs be, and it's going to be one of those games. So I imagine they'll be watching that stuff carefully, and if one thing is dominating other things, they'll end up nerfing it. To bring it into balance or everything else. But yeah, having lots more abilities is going to make that trickier. So. Yeah. So, anything else?
Weapons are looking good. So yeah.
Can I just say something overall about Splatoon 2 that I just kind of miss?
Okay.
I kind of miss it when this, from what I've seen from this Direct, this feels very safe. I feel like Nintendo's playing it a little bit too safe, not going overboard.
I don't know. The way when we see with this Direct, though, I think what we've seen more of the footage. I mean, the common complaint going when this game was first revealed, whatever, is like, oh, it's just Splatoon 1.5 or just a port.
Yeah.
On there, but to me, I think as we get down through all this feature is I really do believe that this is the sequel that we probably. I mean, it's jam packed for it. So I mean, depending on what we.
I guess I just miss when developers go crazy with a sequel. I mean. I kind of miss Zelda 2, for instance. Nothing like the first one, but it still counts as the sequel. I was kind of hoping they do something.
I think you're reverting back to an era of games where they wanted to change things up a bit. That was a lot of games back in that era where they just changed it up so much that it was mixed, and they went back to a different and then its third entry, they went back to the regular formula.
Yeah, I miss those days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What else we got?
I don't know. I think we just lost Lewis.
I think we did lose Lewis, so...
It's okay. We will steer the ship.
No, let's do the ship, though. Basically, we do actually... I mean, continue on the stuff in the Splatoon Direct. We have things called fresh features. So a lot of these different things come from, depending on the additional features that are coming to Splatoon 2. They're going to include, handy menu that lets players change the sensitivity of the controls separately for the TV and handheld mode, with Amiibo functionality, and the ability to post drawings to social media. So Miiverse does live for a little bit right now.
Kind of, in a weird way. It's not a full, it's not going, oh, Miiverse is back. It just kind of exists in this weird limbo state inside Splatoon.
Yeah.
It's an interesting, like, way they've taken it. Yeah. I mean, it's cool. I'm glad that it kind of exists.
I mean, it's good for something, a little bit of feature that I really like is returning, even though it's in a half form from what we saw in the Miiverse. So what we can say is, like, I like how it's painted on as far as graffiti that you could see on different parts of walls, or if I'm right, neon light signs, something like in this area. Like, I could be wrong about that, but that itself is good for it.
That's the impression I got, yeah.
But here's the thing with the amiibo features that we're getting with this. But by tapping the Splatoon series amiibo feature, players can save control settings, gear and weapon loadouts, and nicknames in Splatoon amiibo feature. And whether this is the past or new current ones, these can be taken to any other console to, whether if you want to play online and bring your character with along with them. So
yeah.
So we have that as well. Now, have you been keeping much tabs on Salmon Run though?
I mean, yes. I mean, it looks interesting. I don't know. It just kind of feels like Splatoon's version of a Horde mode.
Which, I mean, the more the merrier for what we can do for this, whatever. And
definitely, absolutely.
So, and the thing that worried me though the most about going into this is, and we're trying to find Lewis to actually get him back on. Hopefully everything's good on here. But continuing on is that, well, the thing going into this, I was excited about this mode so much going in, but then I got that bit of fear that this would be only available at random times, like, say, a Splatfest.
Yeah.
Now, that's half true. This is only available at certain times, I think, during the week and during portions of the day. So, like, an hour or two. I don't have the official numbers here, so there is that.
That's a weird choice, I think.
It is. But in the sense, I guess that's them to get everybody online or at the same time. Again, that's Nintendo's weird way of dealing with, with online. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna try and find where Lewis is here right now, everybody. So before we go, and not before we go, but aside from the Salmon Run, we do have the single player adventure, like single player mode that's returning. So
yes, more fully fledged than what I was expecting, because the original Splatoon is more a tutorial.
It was, but you know,
this is kind of the same, but it's more fleshed out tutorial.
Yeah. And it wasn't really like covered so much, a lot, whatever, and that's given a bit of worry to me about like how good is this going to be just well put together.
Yeah.
But thing is, I enjoyed Splatoon's, like the original Splatoon's, like, single player adventure mode. It was a nice little treat of sorts, and of course, like I said many times, it gave us a really, really inventive and fun final boss battle.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Lewis is back. Look at that.
Oh, he's back.
There
Oh,
he is.
hi, sorry, we continued on basically for you right now. We are now at the single player portion of the as we're talking about the direct, and we want to know what you thought about it.
And I think he's gone again.
And I think he's gone. So he's paused on there. So moving on though. No. Moving on though, we are going to be getting post-launch updates for Splatoon.
Yes.
Or Splatoon 2. So this is the case that we're going to get in there is like weapon updates are going to be continuing for a year after its release, and for 2 years after that, well, we are going to get Splatfest after that. So jumping ahead at this point. So like we had said, whatever before, the first season premiere of Splatfest happens on July 15th. And we've got that. Lewis is still not wanting to get online at the moment. But, well, I think that does kind of cover so much whatever. I mean, I know we had things about like that were going like Splatnet 2.
Splatnet 2, yeah.
Yeah. And what did you think about this right now?
I mean, I think they explained it quite well, but I still don't really get the concept of it. I know it ties into the phone app they're developing. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's necessary. It just feels like a little addition that they're doing, like a little thing on the side. It's not something that's like a selling point to the game for me. It's handy if you want all the information like on your phone, but to me, it's just not.
No. Well, but going through here, the Splatoon service does this. What we'll do is help players. It'll help players essentially keep in touch with Inkopolis when they're away from their Nintendo Switch systems. So you'll display information such as like stage schedules, gear and stats, and even lets certain users view the lifetime inkage, which they presented like, hey, it could be anything up to like, what was your usage of ink throughout the game? Enough to cover the Pyramids of Giza. So I look forward to the point where it says I covered the entire portions of St. Louis. So there we go. But no, the thing is with the Nintendo Switch app that links up to this is that I like the concept and the idea of the app. It's just a matter of its execution that worries me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, already it's going to be...
Lewis is back. There we go.
Hello. Someone said something about apps.
Yeah, we wanted to ask you about...
Yes, we mentioned apps and Lewis appears.
Exactly.
No, throughout the notes, obviously, we missed you there. We wanted to ask you what is your thoughts on basically the Splatnet 2 and its incorporation into the Nintendo Online app?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not sure entirely how they are going to integrate, because previously, like, things like Splatnet and some other kind of appy type things Nintendo's done previous have never actually been apps. Like, they've done them as websites, like mobile friendly websites, basically. Yeah. So I'm wondering if Splatnet 2 is basically just going to be one of those, because like they've announced an app which is like Nintendo Switch Online.
Yes,
and they made a point of doing so, but they didn't for Splatnet 2. So I'm not sure if it's going to be like, if it truly is a part of the Nintendo Switch Online app, or it's a website which you can go to on your mobile or your PC or whatever. Or a bit of both. There could be like little modules which you get in the Switch Online app, but it was a bit vague. So we shall find out soon. And I guess the good news is about the exact same date as Splatoon 2 itself. So I'm around soon with this stuff, and it's obviously not just for Splatoon 2 either. So well, again, that all seems a bit vague, but my understanding at least is that it's going to be like. Regardless of game, you as a Switch user will be able to associate your account with it, and thus then be able to talk to other people. Thankfully, it will be free for a while, so we can test it out thoroughly. Put it through its paces.
It's still very odd to me that they're doing it this way, but I mean, if it works, great. But I don't know.
Yeah,
a little weird.
It's a bit weird. But also for weird reasons, I'm powering this through my phone currently, so it is the future.
Yeah, we may wait. So you're saying that you're getting your internet connection to your phone right now?
Yeah, I'm doing one of those again.
We may.
Fantastic.
Well, that may have to. Well, hopefully we can get through all this other news. So I guess that's it for the Splatoon stuff that we've got.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I think that covers it. However, we've got a little bit of extra news. Cheeky bit of extra. We've got Nintendo has applied for a new trademark called Nintendo Check-In, and it also has an image, which is like a Mario hat and like a tick, which is a little bit like a Mario moustache.
Very much so.
Very much so. I won't go that far.
The icon itself is very similar to one of those like pins you put on a map.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, is this going to be a location-based thing? Like, is that what it's going to be?
Yeah,
because obviously it's just a trademark. We don't know anything about it apart from the logo. So it's all speculation.
I think like in very vague terms, Nintendo spoke about they would like to use like smart devices, like with their theme parks and such.
Yep.
And I think this is part of that. And so there'll be places where you better Nintendo's designations. You better check in, say I'm here, and it'll probably, and I think it's just like they alluded to is like it will earn you some like Nintendo points in doing so.
Nintendo currency.
Yeah. Get those silver coins. Exactly.
Does anybody really care about the silver coins anymore?
You can buy Splatoon gear with them now.
Yeah.
There we go.
That should be. But no, this trademark I think is essentially goes back to what Nintendo was originally wanting to do with like when they're opening up their business opportunities, whether it's through theme parks, through making feature films. This even goes to like what they want to do is like, hey, using your own services, whether it's like checking into movies or your other products. I think that again, it's just another avenue of what they can probably do as far as like to grow their brand.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We'll see. I don't. I mean, it sounds interesting because it's called Nintendo Check-In. I mean, to me, it just sounds intriguing. It's like, what are we checking in, luggage or something? But yeah, we'll find out in a few months what it is, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how soon or far away it will be, but I imagine, it's at least somewhat connected to of the theme park ventures.
Yeah, most likely.
And what else it could be connected to is going to be more of the pertinent.
Exactly.
So what else would you maybe the Nintendo World Store? Sure, but where else? There aren't that many like physical Nintendo locations around the world.
Not that we know of. Yeah.
Not that we know of. No. Maybe there will be more coming. Our next bit and final bit of Nintendo news we have is Doug Bowser discussing the future of portables for Nintendo. I'll be completely honest, I've not read this.
That's fine.
Who's read this article? And does he not just say they have a strong future?
Pretty much. That's
pretty much.
That's it in a nutshell. They asked him about what's basically the future is like for Nintendo's handhelds, and he was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good." And these Switches at home console.
Yes, that is something they keep emphasizing that fact. Although I still feel like they should spin it on its head and be like, "It's a handheld you can plug in," but it's too late now. It's too late for that.
Well, I don't think it's too late. I reckon they will change their mind in the future.
Well, one thing that
redesign model.
Well, one thing people really get surprised, like I need to kind of usually stress with people about how with the Switch out, why aren't they killing the 3DS right now? Or like, well, before we saw the announcement of the games coming out this fall, is because right now the 3DS accounts for about almost a good half of like Nintendo's profits right now.
Yeah.
More so.
No,
I mean,
I'm not surprised. They're like, we're going to keep the 3DS around for a bit. I'm like, yeah, no wonder. It's still printing money, even though it's 6 years old now, coming up to 7.
It doesn't shock me. But no, I mean, it's even though this would serve to another longer discussion another time, it's a wonder of like when they would probably announce their next handheld, or when would be the right time to do it. And where would that power range of what they would do for something like that, or would it still be a clamshell design? Would they be ditching or would they be still going with a dual screen and not like dual screen type of handheld?
Yeah.
This is something. I mean, questions that really need to kind of raise of what the future is and where they can go with it.
I mean, honestly, I hope they never lose the clamshell design. I think it's so perfect for handhelds because it does have a double feature of protecting the screen as well as making the device smaller so it fits into your pocket. It's a win-win.
Yeah. So, apologies if I missed a similar thought here, but do you reckon we could see like the GBA SP of Switches in the future then, or?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we might get another version of the Switch, but I don't think I think it'd be more console-esque than
portable-esque.
Yeah, it'd be like the Switch XL, basically. Yeah.
The Switch Pro.
Switch Pro.
Switch Pro. New Nintendo Switch.
Oh, don't. I'm hoping they drop the new thing.
So-
I want the new thing to go away because it's the worst.
It's not. Colin's not going away anytime soon with the new 2DS XL. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll have some new console.
Yeah. Wow.
You know.
Subtle there, Lewis. It's like.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Okay. They'll come up with something new. That's all for the news. So we have a feature to jump into.
We do.
And
We do.
whose idea was this feature?
This was mine.
It was yours, Harrison. Actually, would you like to take the lead? Explaining why you've brought this to the table?
Yes, and the feature that we're kind of wanting, that I want to actually, just speak about, whatever, is that it's about Nintendo's its own third-party support going forward right now. The promise of this, of Nintendo wanting to get, or for us having a home console here, that we would at least have some semblance of a third-party support. Well, looking back, we did have that graphic that we did at the beginning of the Switch. Well, looking back at the, not looking back, I know it was way before the Switch presentation of the third-party partners that were willing to go with, that were working with Switch products right now. Now, it just looking forward, it's not looking as a little bit less brightly. I mean, when we saw back at the Nintendo's E3 showing, many were praising that was like, oh, it's a pretty good showing that they had out there as far as surprises and games that they've shown on the floor and whether in private that impressed a lot of people. Thing is, if you stripped away all that, it was really bare. And again, the thing I wanted to bring up base about this was Oddworld's creator Lorne Lanning. He was during a debate, not a debate, whatever, but on the Kind of Funny Games cast. And this was a episode that had recently shown up past their own patrons that was revealed back in April or so. And now the video has come out. And it was him discussing about, and I'm assuming you all saw this report, I assume? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. So,
I didn't see it itself, but I heard of what came out of it.
Yeah. Long story short, he does not have much faith in the Switch. And this, whether or not this, and I'm not wanting to dig at this man about this. I'm just, this is meant to kind of a starting off point of the discussion, whatever. Basically Lanning, when asked about the Nintendo Switch, whether he has faith in it, and quote, he says, "I don't have faith. I have no faith. It's due to experience. I see a similar level of success than they had with previous generations." And it's surprising when he says Wii U and Wii. Hmm. Now, when he pointed out basically the Wii generally, whatever, came off as a little surprising, because considering many would say that was a bona fide success for Nintendo and led to a second golden age for the company.
It was one of Nintendo's biggest successes, and it came out of nowhere, but it was one of the biggest successes. But
Lanning kind of countered basically, countered by saying how, again, this leads to the third party situation, how they made little money off it. Now, that's debatable, or whatever we wanted to get to it. Quote, "How successful was it for third parties? By the end of the life of the Wii, who else was making money aside from Nintendo? How many titles sold for Wii that weren't Nintendo first party? They started basically evaporating third-party support. With the Wii U, same. No third-party support." Now, moving on to other quotes that when he was talking about, again, the Switch. Well, the way I can get to it, or again, I don't want to take anything too much out of context. When it comes to, third party in the Switch, this kind of comment that comes into it is day and date. Day and date in terms of releases. How this goes back to this title called Oddworld New and Tasty. How Lorne, Lanning claims that got very little promotion when it launched on the Wii U eShop. Now, this day and date portion comes to it how, say, if it's a multi-platform release, you're going to be getting a PS4, Xbox release on the day of its official release, and whereas whatever Nintendo's getting, it's a later date. This is brought up with Lauren when he says, you would think, okay, the Switch, it's mobile. This is interesting. How are other developers going to try and bring titles over? Not very well, because you're going to have to spend more time, energy, and effort to get on that on a console. An underpowered console that's going to have fewer units in the market. Now, Lauren also claimed when... I don't know. Basically, what I'm getting with all these...
It's enough of a starting off point, isn't it?
It's a what?
It's enough of a kind of a starting off point. I think we've kind of established his side here about third parties. Yeah. I guess is the question whether we kind of agree or disagree, or why we disagree, or
what I think the thing I want to bring up. I think the thing I wanted to bring up mostly with this is there a future for third-party success here, or even third parties here on the Switch? Is there? Because I'm not one to be mad at this. I mean, I may respectfully disagree with certain contents on this. It just, I felt like it was a good enough time to say, all right, third parties in the Switch, where do we see this going? And is it enough? I'm in the camp of we're not going to get anything. We're not anything, but not everything. I feel like we may...
Harrison is the most jaded Nintendo fan out there.
I'm not trying to be jaded. I'm just saying how, given the possibility of this platform, what are we going to get as far as, like, okay, Bethesda's throwing a bone with a Skyrim port with its selling point of, hey, it's Skyrim to go. But what else?
I heard we're also going to get enhanced port of Skies of Arcadia. Is that true?
I wish that was the case. I'm sorry.
Yeah. This news come out.
I heard it about an hour ago. Mine's a bit foggy there.
Oh, an hour ago. Thanks. So thanks for just giving my hopes up there, Lewis. Thank you. But we did get news of WWE 2K18 is coming, and reportedly it is the current version. So we got that. We also have NBA 2K18, but we also have a FIFA port, which leads in more discussion with features missing. Now, is this, again, Nintendo putting itself in a corner with its own hardware power, or is this just third parties saying they just don't want to do this because we can do this, but it's not going to sell on that platform?
I think the issue Nintendo has with their systems is they make their systems for themselves, and they just expect third parties to come along for the ride. I don't think they openly discuss their platforms to third parties. They basically go up and say, "This is what we got. What can you do for us?" kind of thing. I think that's challenging for third parties. So they got a project that's already in development that's aiming at PS4 level, and the Switch isn't at that level, and they have to try and work a way around to get it onto the Switch. I think that's challenging for them, and that's why you don't see a lot of games that come of PS4 that are multi-platform coming to the Switch, because they're not. Right now the Switch isn't worth the investment. But I think what's the turning point here is the Switch is currently selling out pretty well. I mean, it's tough to get hold at a reasonable price, because it's whenever they get put on sale, they're gone. So as the install base rises, I think we'll see more third parties will jump on. But I think right now it's more challenging for third parties to hop on board.
Yeah, I think you touched on a good couple of points. One is the fact that multi-platform games, in particular, because they're not like really the only type of third-party games. Because it is tricky to make a couple of versions of the same game which have relatively similar power and architecture and rest, and not huge amount far off install bases. And then you've got, say, the Switch, which is the odd one out here, where it's a lot less powerful. There's a lot less of them, and then ironically, you'd have to pour the equivalent more money in to get less out, and then that's not really how businesses work. So they just don't make that decision. Xbox, PlayStation, that works for us, and so I think we will though see some good success stories for the Switch, where the right third parties make essentially exclusive games, but they're still third-party games. But they're aiming for the Switch first, and I think they will see success if they they not exclusively, but I mean, like, if they make an experience which kind of leads itself towards that sort of platform. There's, I think, a kind of a similar mind share among Switch owners, and what sort of things they're enjoying. It's not absolutely everything, but there's a lot of overlap there between, I think, the attach rates show that pretty much every Switch owner also likes Zelda somewhat. I think it's going to be oddly a bit like the situation we had for the Wii, and especially when I say when, like, the Wii was always popular, and people and companies were trying to figure out how to make money out of the Wii, and a lot of them failed. A lot of them were trying the traditional thing, but a lot of
what you're saying is brace yourself for shovelware.
Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily mean there will be shovelware incoming. Although
the shovelware would come unless they see the success in it, unless they.
Yeah.
That's where I gotta see. But I've long had the belief about how, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, I don't think we're gonna get everything, but I feel like we're gonna get select experiences that's going to be carried by Nintendo's major output of, like, putting out a game almost a month or so, whatever, or even every 2 months, and relying on indies for a little bit. But and also, one thing you would have to ask for somebody who's a prospective Switch owner is like, okay, it's awesome, but why is it, like, say this one Nintendo game is not my jam? Like, say, for instance, ARMS was nobody's a cup of tea, or even Splatoon. Oh wait, Mario and Rabbids is not really up my, and then you're waiting for Mario Odyssey. Then you kind of create yourself into that. So, but I mean,
a point I did want to add is, although, like, the Switch is a different architecture, it is different power to the other systems. I think when a certain threshold is hit and there are enough Switches out there, I think, technically the big studios could pump the development in to make, the Switch version of the current gen AAA game. I think it's technically doable. I think it's scalable in that way. And I think it all comes down to, like, Nintendo has aggressively been, like, making sure different engines are running on the Switch, and that's not necessarily, at least publicly, been doing at the launch, from the get-go of the console, but they have been doing it here. And so, although it doesn't have the same power as these other machines, it supports most of the same development platforms, and in theory, assuming the profitability thing is, a given, I think they could take, the big games they're working on now and get a, focused team to port that to the Switch, even though it's technically much underpowered. But I think it would be comparable, just one-to-one sort of thing. I don't think it would be much difference. But the big thing is, it would take significant effort to do so.
Yeah. But one thing I want to ask, though, is, like, why is it that saying it's not just, powerful ports of, like, powerful current games, but take, for instance, there are things that, like, Capcom's not doing. I mean, again, this is something that's, like, I hate the concept of port begging. I really don't like that. I mean, we saw that a lot with Bayonetta 2. People were demanding that to come over to PS4 and whatever, Xbox One, because they wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a significant amount, like probably not huge amount of people complaining, like, what was, like, the Disney Afternoon collection for Capcom, something you feel like that fits well with Nintendo's audience. It's like, why is it? Is it because? But then again, it's like, is it because the audience is so young here that they just don't trust it?
I think that one is purely just unfortunate development cycle. Like when they started the project, they weren't ready for the Switch yet.
That you may be right. Yeah, you are right. And again, I don't want this whole thing to kind of start out being like, oh, third parties are just treating Nintendo so bad, whatever. I mean, we know the history behind the company and its whole thing. Again, downhill since the beginning of the N64. And in that case, there was a blip of positivity, obviously, with it being back with the GameCube of course, proprietary hardware that we saw with those discs happen. I mean, again, but and that was the console that was that was significantly more powerful than the leading market share in Sony's PlayStation 2.
I kind of wish I was around in like the Super Nintendo, like early Super Nintendo era. I'm curious as to whether that struggled at the start to get third-party support, because the Genesis Mega Drive was high at that point. It was, it was selling really well when the Super Nintendo launched.
Well, again, this all comes down to Nintendo's early, like what we would call like their draconian practices when it came to like their quality control of what they did with each of their like. You remember back during the NES, like if you look back at if you read through Console Wars, or even I knew that beforehand, is that Nintendo demanded basically quality control with like their games, because obviously this coming after the '83 video game crash, demanding like, hey, you can only telling publishers and developers certain publishers you can only develop like 5 games a year from this console. So that was able to kind of like put their foothold in it. And once with the 64 coming out using cartridges, and of course Sony using discs, which were cheaper to make, that gave third parties the reason to jump ahead. Obviously, Sony, it was hanging by a thread during the SNES era. There's a reason why you saw so many better sports titles in Genesis. They flocked that because that audience was there. So it was all a matter of like what was Nintendo going to do to just open up the floodgates of letting third parties out. Now, switching back over here to the Switch, it's, I don't know. I'm just trying to see a future where it's like, hey, is this the only year? Like, hey, what happens if NBA 2K, like these versions are reviewed poorly or they don't sell well? We're just back in the same cycle we saw at the beginning of the Wii U.
The only thing I really don't want to have happen again is what happened to like Watch Dogs on Wii U, where companies go, we've got the version of a game, we're just not going to release it until certain numbers are met. Yeah, it's like,
I think that's really part of it though. Like, console sales will be considered, but also how successful.
Totally.
Not just their own, although they will put probably the most importance of it on how well their own software sells on the system, but obviously looking at other third parties and such. But I think what could be an interesting thing to focus on is indie developers.
Okay.
And I think this is where Nintendo, oddly, could get a stronghold on a particular type of developer. I do strongly think that the Switch could become the lead development platform for the majority of console indie games, which seems like a very bold statement. But I think it's...
Yeah, I was going to say, because indie development doesn't really depend on power much.
No, that's one of the points.
It doesn't.
It's
not
more
power,
about creativity. So,
the Switch is obviously a unique platform because it is both console and portable. And I think I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, I should be in a probably good position to answer. I think indie developers like the idea of having their game on a portable system as well. And I think that's why the PS Vita even still gets indie games ported to it. And exactly, like Undertale was announced at E3. It's coming to PS Vita as well as PS4. And I've like the Switch is already off to a great start with indie games, and like we know there's loads of good indie titles coming in the future, and strong indie developers. And so, I think like it's an odd situation, but I think it's like because there aren't as many like third-party big games, like sales will be more kind of equally divided between like Nintendo's big games and indie games, and like that will be great for indie developers. They're going to lap that up, and so I think like they could see the Switch being their lead platform, and it ironically might have that knock-on effect that third parties start jumping in because of the number of consoles then start increasing as well. Because that gap was filled. But it's I doubt it was anyone's plan, as it were, but it could roll out that way.
Mm-hmm. But no, you bring up some solid points there, and it also leads me to this: is like, let's just say it doesn't get any better,
Sure.
and indies are the only thing that are there. Is Nintendo able to just? I mean, the difference here between the Wii U right now, as far as naming and concept and difficulty to port for and develop for, is that it has a great concept that people that immediately get. So that's more so that we saw that even when the Wii U launched. Again, aside from confusion, it's just say they don't come aside from a smidge what we say like we're the year releases that we have with NBA 2K or say FIFA, depending if they sell well. Is Nintendo able to carry the ship that well with the release stream that they got going right now?
Well, I think Nintendo have proven time and again, especially with the N64 era, that they can survive with minimal third-party support.
They can. It's just they have to do it as well, like in terms of a release schedule, because that's the one thing they're correcting here is like they're giving us games here and here there. Depending if they're of your interests, that's up to you.
That's right.
But we're getting game releases, and we're not getting those streaks of areas where there is just a barren wasteland of nothing.
Yeah.
So I think to answer the question in simple could they survive doing it? Yeah, definitely. Like it's kind of what we're used to, unfortunately, by now. Like we used to looking forward to the big Nintendo releases, and what's third party bringing? No, not much. Well, we're kind of already used to that mentality. I'm not saying like that's a good thing, or that is how it will continue. Minimum. Especially at the pace Nintendo's on currently, they could run this with the indies as well. They could make it survive for 5 years. Would it be like successful? I think is a bigger question. Would it be able to actually, will it sell more than the Wii U if it does that? Probably. Will it sell much more? Different question. Like they are going to need third-party support. Now it doesn't have to be the same games, but it does need other companies like pitching in their own games in between these Nintendo releases. And you're right. It's not just like even if Nintendo does step up the pace, add a couple extra games in a year, or a few more. And they have like a big game like literally every month, or even some where there's two. It does vary on people's tastes, and a lot of people depending on their gaming taste, they can like knock out a huge like chunk of the Nintendo library because there is a lot of overlap in themes and styles and gameplay and so on. That they might only like a few of Nintendo's franchises and not like all of them like some of us do.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the tricky thing.
Yeah, it does come down to them just to maintain. If they can maintain this release schedule they've got,
yeah,
then I think people will be happy.
Oh, definitely.
They know that.
Like this is not Nintendo kind of in terms of having steady releases, kind of on top of the game. I can't imagine of another era where Nintendo's pumped out so many big name titles.
I mean, we didn't know they were big name titles, but during the N64 era, when Rare was just like cranking out games.
True, but even then, they're still spaced out.
They were.
Like, if you just take like a standard 12 months of the N64 library and go, what games did we have this year?
3 or 4 would be Rare, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, and that's the other thing. Like, at least in the N64 era, they did have Rare. They don't really have an equivalent, I guess, apart from it, like a bunch of studios.
Yeah,
but they're not one with a single. But yeah, it is, and would be interesting to actually have a proper deep dive in this. But just how big Nintendo has become as a development set of studios from everything they've acquired over the years. They have an impressive amount of development workforce behind them now.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
So, I mean, what would we say, like, all three of us going forward, where do we see, like, just short few words, like, where do we see third parties being as far as Nintendo, say, a year or two from now? Do we see it getting better, or do we see it just staying the same old with usual what we've seen since for as long as we can remember.
I definitely agree that we'll see like Wii level of third party support. And I was joking about shovelware, but I don't think we'll get a lot of it. Mainly because the Switch doesn't really have that much of a gimmick attached to it. I mean, it does have the borderline motion controls and things like that, but it's not enough to build a crappy motion-based game around and just throw it out there. Yeah, I think the Wii will be, the Switch will have like Wii level success. I think third party wise, yeah.
I was going to say that's exactly what Nintendo wants to achieve. Wii level success.
Wii level success. What's that? Yeah, I don't think they complain.
Oh, definitely not. So for myself, I think it's going to be a bit of a mix. I'm fairly close to Colin's statement there. I think we'll see certain developers which may surprise us and just go, all right, yeah, all our games are for the Switch now. It's proven itself. And so I'm not sure who it will be. Probably not EA. Ubisoft, maybe? I guess Ubisoft would be the guys.
Wait, what was that quote that EA said a while back? Like an unprecedented partnership?
Yeah, still, maybe I'll be wrong, proven wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Ubisoft.
There it is.
I'm not 100% sure it is Ubisoft, but I think at least one of the big publishers will be like, yeah, we're filling on the Switch. So
I think we have one already. I think Square is very much invested in the Switch.
And
Atlas too, to an extent.
Atlas, yes, true.
It just reminded me of a big part of the conversation we've kind of missed out here, just Japanese developers, which
true.
I think given a little bit more time, they'll pretty much all be on board, and it will be the dominant development platform for Japan. It just seems to make, at least on paper, so much sense. We should say we could be proven wrong. Like we obviously got like the Monster like nebulous thing kind of floating around in terms of like that is a non-Switch game now in terms of world. So like that's a big franchise you can look towards of how what's happening with third party.
But I think the issue with our world is what you said before about conflicting developers. Yeah, definitely so. Because I got a feeling that game's been in development for like 4 or 5 years at least.
That's been in the oven for quite a while. It's not like something they started last year.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like we will see a Switch version eventually. It's going to be a little while before they can.
All right, we'll get the G version then.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, definitely.
That would ironically make sense as well. Isn't that where it kind of started with the portable versions?
Yes. No, you're right. That's how it started. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
I guess I'll end with mine. What I said is in a year or so, or if it gets better, slightly, but I'm not putting too much. I was excited coming to the Switch, but as more kind of unveiled, which again, I still love it. And I'm glad it's getting positive results to it. I just don't think third parties are really seeing the same things that they can do because look at Microsoft's situation right now, knowing what they have at their first party output, and they're trying to correct that. But why is it they keep it plugged? It's third parties. Third parties will bend over backwards for them. And I'm not saying as a slight against Microsoft. I mean, that's just the industry as a whole. That's how it works here. I mean, they know that they can be profitable on there and have at least a semblance of any bit of like profit. Here, I just feel like Nintendo lost the war with third parties, and I just don't see it getting a better point right now. But will we see some surprises or something going through whatever if this thing continues to sell well? Probably. But until then, all I gotta say is for Nintendo is like, hey, continue putting out your indies and continue putting out this good output of this first year you're doing right now because it is blowing. And it is, I'm getting more enjoyment out of my first few months right now than I did out of my Wii U. Heck, even my Wii, for instance.
Yeah, I guess please encourage me. I'll keep this one short, but I think we will see more partnerships to also kind of as stopgap things. So, like we've had Mario and Rabbids, I think there will be already in the works many partnerships with third-party developers on exclusive Switch games, and I think that's how they're going to do this. And so they're reaching out to the big studios, saying like, yeah, you can do something with RIP, or we can have a mix of things and whatnot, or we might help funding or whatever. But we're going to do our best to, secure a game from you for our system. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be these unique deals and partnerships. And I imagine we'll see maybe, I forget the name now, but, the heavily rumored Bayonetta and Wonderful 101, like, we could get some bits around like that as well.
No, are you talking about the thing that Platinum's been tweeting out for the last couple of days?
Yeah, so it might not be any of those two particular things, but yeah, they might have. It could be one of these partnerships.
Can I just say that Platinum's not being very subtle? I think they're
releasing a set of Famicom Joy-Cons.
Well, that wasn't what I had in mind, but in regards to Bayonetta 1 and 2, I can see it happening. Especially Bayonetta 2. I feel like that deserves another chance. And the Switch just seems to be the right place for it, so we'll see.
If I was Nintendo and I owned Bayonetta 2, I'd release it again, because...
Absolutely.
I replay, yeah.
Like, you own that fit at that point. It's like, might as well. It's not like it's a PC game and it's evergreen at that point. It's like it's locked to the console it was released on, and we're not making them anymore. But pull it, bring it ahead. Anyway, I think that's going to cover it for our third-party discussion. So, Harrison, thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Hey, it was, and this is no too many ill words to like Lorne Lanning. I read through that discussion and watched that interview, and it felt right to bring up. And obviously, I know one thing people were mad about that was his comments about Iwata, how the workload during the Wii U sort of killed him. As well, like I understand, I didn't think he meant ill word, like mean towards the late Satoru Iwata. It just he raised it really badly, really to me. But obviously, I somewhat agree with him. But in the overall scheme of what it's going in right now, I don't know. Maybe it's me thinking his sour grapes of how Oddworld bad and how his Oddworld port to Wii U.
Well, honestly, that's how it came across. That's how it came across. So
that's me. And again, it is worth bringing up about Nintendo's third parties, like what the relationship's going to be, and if it can be corrected. That's really what to discuss about, whether or not.
All right. Well, I feel I should ask first. I mean, you handled the feature rather well. Do you want to take your usual responsibilities and jump straight to the bonus round, or would you like someone else to do that?
What announced that Colin's going to do the bonus round this time? No.
Are you?
No. I am back again. Yeah, but let's do it this time. So, yeah, the bonus round. Okay. So, we all know that there's a SNES Classic coming out, and did anybody pre-order it or has gotten a chance to?
I tried to, but
I tried to and succeeded.
Well.
Oh, you succeeded. Oh. I've not yet.
Not yet.
Well,
I'm working on it.
Everybody in North America has not had the chance to do that, so we're still patiently waiting, and that doesn't give me much hope as whether or not I'm going to get one, because again, I want one so badly. But knowing it's my favorite Nintendo console all the time. So, but anyway, the bonus round about 2 weeks ago, after a week break because of the American holiday, we asked you what would be your dream classic system plus its games. We got 3 answers here, and first answer comes from Dan Gaskin at Twitter via Twitter with Game Boy Micro Mini with Ninja 5.0, Advance Wars, Metroids, Mario's, Zeldas, etc.
That'd be awesome. I mean, the Micro Mini.
That's going to be on point.
Just how small is that going to be?
Did anybody actually ever hold one of those before?
A micro.
Yes.
Yeah, micro.
I had a micro.
I never did get one.
Awesome little thing. Little metal case. It was awesome. Yeah, that's about how
big it is. Face plates as well, didn't they? You could snap off.
They did. That's right. I think doing a classic like handheld would be an interesting path for them to go down. Like, here's the Game Boy Classic. It comes with 20
I think
games,
it would definitely start with classic.
Yeah,
I don't think they could jump into like a GBA.
No. It'd be interesting if they went to the Game Boy Color afterwards, so that's... I don't know. The Game Boy and Game Boy Color are they could easily do that as one.
When I say classic, like they could do a color, like just classic / color.
Yeah, no, true.
And they could fake it, and it could look like a classic but be color, opposed to actually having a color one. But that's be a tricky one because it's like unlike the consoles, like they can get away with just having a shell, with the ends in. But obviously, with a portable, like the design of it is more fundamentally linked to, the usability of it.
I wonder, because like, if they do go through the handhelds, how are they going to do the DS Classic? Because that requires a touchscreen. You're just going to have a stylus that pops out.
I don't
think they'll do that.
No, I think there's got to be a point where the nostalgia, basically, for something that's beyond the point of like using.
Well, they might, but that'll be in 20 years' time.
But we're all old. Yeah.
Moving on though, from Auntie Wicklin via Twitter. Though I would say a GameCube Mini, I'm more interested in a handheld Game Boy Mini with some Game Boy and Game Boy Color classics like Super Mario Land 6 Golden Coins. That could be easily the next one that they may do. Who knows? I actually do like the idea of combining that, where it's just like, hey, it's Game Boy and Game Boy Color classics.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking they'll do. Yeah. I see a GameCube Mini would be my dream. That'd be awesome.
And it would look pretty cute. Just a little GameCube. Just because it's a cube in itself.
Yeah.
Like it probably wouldn't even handle at that point, would it?
No, you got to get the handle. You can like wear it around your neck. How cool would that be?
There we go. Practical purpose now. Or more decorative. It was more practical when it was a handle.
Yeah. But no, the Game Boy Classic would be awesome.
It's a matter of like which version. Are we getting the Pocket or the Brick?
I reckon that they'll get big on the Game Boy Light. That's the brand everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Ironically, that is probably what they'll make, in the sense like it will be a backlit Game Boy. So
yeah, probably
they won't call it the Light, obviously.
No.
Finally, though, we next the final answer comes from Steve with Virtual Boy Mini, just to see if they can sell more mini versions of the system than the original.
I've got a slight concern with this proposal. Board.
Yeah, how would you make a mini version of this that would fit on your eyes?
Yeah.
Yes.
You make it mini, but how do you see it? How do you look into the lenses?
The mini version,
you just make some mini lenses.
The mini version that you're probably making would only fit for maybe, I don't know, a hamster or a dog.
Now we're talking.
And a dog only sees
marketing potential there.
And a dog is like colorblind, so
exactly.
That's perfect, isn't it? Black and red. That's all it needs.
Oh, jeez.
That works, right?
I'm
not fully understanding how colorblindness works, especially in animals. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah. They're dog on the box.
I just love the idea of people holding these tiny virtual boys to their faces just to be able to play a game.
What was that really garbage thing that Tiger Electronics put out for the that was a VR?
The R-Zone?
Yes.
The R-Zone.
I'd sooner buy that again than like that. Oh, that thing was. Here's the bad thing. There was at one point in time when I was younger, I thought that was cool, and then years later, I realized, yeah, I made a lot of dumb thoughts when I was a child.
Situations like that. I mean, Lewis once thought the N-Gage was cool, and he still does. So
there we go. There, Lewis still does. Not good.
Oh dear.
So that does conclude, though, for the bonus round this week, and I will task. I'm going to say Lewis with answering or picking our answer.
Oh.
Best answer here.
Well, do I pick a practical working answer?
Are you trying to say that the Virtual Boy one's not practical?
I don't think it would be practical in the sense that if you made a small version of it, I don't think any of its games would actually be playable in its current original form. I am tempted to go to the Virtual Boy though. Actually, I'm not though. Nah.
You're not.
I'm choosing not to sell this product purely at colorblind dogs. I'm actually going to go with Dan Gaskin's answer, the Game Boy Micro Mini. And not just because of the system, although that would be cool. Although it probably has the same complaints as the Virtual Boy. Like, if you make the Micro so much smaller,
yeah, exactly.
that screen is going to be really hard to see. Because to be fair, certain games I struggled with on the Micro on its own. Some of the Game Boy Advance games has really fine text. The Micro didn't help with that. But Dan has also offered up some suggestions of what games could be included. Advance Wars. There we go. That's one way to please Lewis here.
Yeah. Put a smile
the Metroid. Well, then after we got the Metroids, the Marios, the Zeldas. But we also got Ninja 5.0. I never played that, but I have heard good things. So I wanted to take this as an opportunity to ask you: have either of you played Ninja 5.0?
No.
No. I assume that's a no from you as well, Harrison. I don't know why, but I feel I need to play this game. Seeing it sat alongside Advance Wars, Metroid, Mario's, and Zelda's.
It's clearly top tier. So
I need to pick up the Game Boy Micro Mini so I can re-experience Ninja 5.0 for the first time. So Dan Gaskin, you are our winner of this week. I'm sure you've won already. So here, have some extra digital prizes for Twisted Fusion. They are the same exact prizes, but you can create a second folder on your PC and store a copy there as well.
Or you can re-gift it. I mean, that always works.
Well, you could, but I mean, it's not a license. Dan could be doing that anyway. He could just send it to all his friends. But no, there you go. So yeah, prize is yours. So we do have another bonus round for next time. And the question we have for you, if you want to win these fantastic prizes, assuming you haven't won them before, but if you have, please join us anyway. We are planning some new, interesting, fresh things in the very near future. More about that very soon. The question for you is, what are your thoughts on the current third-party support for Switch? Try not to steal our ideas. I know you can listen to them. But let us know what you think about third-party support for the Switch, what we could see in the future, what you'd like to see, and why. And you can send your answers email hello@nintendovoice.com, on Twitter @NintendoVoice, or if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, you can add your answers to the comments below. And before we wrap up this show, let's do our usual thing. If we give out our contact details and anything individually we're working on which we'd like to plug. And Harrison, you should like to go first.
I was going to say, what usual thing? The usual thing where we just yell each other off on the show.
Such things.
No, but you can reach me at Twitter at hmilfeld, and you can reach me at Miiverse my Nintendo Network ID is Hybrid Meta, and if you want to reach me on Switch Friends, I have my friend code, whatever, pinned to my profile. So I don't know how long. Again, I used to say this every week. How long are we going to still be talking about Miiverse?
So I guess I'll do it myself next. So you can find me through Twitter, really, anyway, which is at Highly of Bard. Yeah, I don't really do Weverse anymore. To me, it's gone. It's gone. Forgotten.
Fucking used the dead word then. Oh, you did. Oh well, for me, Twitter's your best chance, really. At Lusion, Leuvision. Even the great Lusion has ran away from Weverse. If you want me back on there, tweet me. How about that? And I don't have anything individual to plug. However, you may have noticed we are approaching a triple-digit episode. We've discussed before the show and during the show, during and outside of internet connectivity issues, I've been pondering as well. We will have a special episode for you next week. I cannot guarantee it's going to be a triple-digit episode, but it's going to be a good one either way. And we'll have lots of things to announce about episode 100 very soon. So please keep your ears and eyes open. And with that, though, this has been episode 99, and this has been Nintendo Voice. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.